Hi, my name is Paul Zlotowski, and welcome to What is Truth? In today's episode, we look at the relationship between God and a very large hotel. Last time we showed that God must exist because time began. We showed that infinite time is impossible because counting to infinity is impossible. Today I want to take a slightly different tack and show that infinite time is impossible because infinite anything is impossible. To do that, we're going to walk through a thought experiment called Hilbert's Hotel. So imagine you have a hotel room with an infinite number of rooms. Also imagine that every single room in the hotel is occupied. So there are no vacancies in this hotel. And this fact has to be fully appreciated before we move on. There are simply no vacancies in this hotel with an infinite number of rooms. So let's say that you arrive at this hotel hoping to check in. You walk up to the concierge and you say, "I'd like a room, please." And he says, "Sorry, all of the rooms are full." You start to walk out of the hotel quite disappointed when the concierge says, "Wait, I may have a solution for you." So what he does is he starts to move people around, and he takes a person from any given room and moves them to the room number that's one greater than their own. So the person in room 1 moves to room 2. The person in room 2 moves to room 3, etc., etc. And because we have an infinite number of rooms, we can always put the person in any given room into the room number one greater than their own. And the effect of this is to make room 1 vacant. So even though the hotel was full, now you're able to check in. And if this sounds absurd, that's because it is. When you have an infinite number of things in reality, it leads to these contradictions and these absurdities, which just goes to show that you cannot, in fact, have an infinite number of things in reality, such as hotel rooms or seconds. But believe it or not, this thought experiment gets even more absurd. Let's say that immediately behind you, you actually have an infinite number of guests who would like to check into the hotel. And the concierge says, "No problem." And what he proceeds to do is he moves all of the guests from their room numbers to room numbers twice their own. So for example, the person in room 1 is going to move to room 2. The person in room 2 is going to move to room 4. The person in room 3 is going to move to room 6, and so on and so on. And the effect of this is to create vacancies in all of the odd number rooms. And think about it, how many odd numbers are there? An infinite, right? Because no matter how high you can count in the series of odd numbers, you can always count one additional odd number. So by making all of the odd number rooms vacant, we've actually created an infinite number of vacancies, and we can easily accommodate all of the infinite guests who just arrived behind you. And again, this just goes to show how absurd an infinite number of things in reality is, because before you arrived, or before this infinite number of guests arrived, all of the rooms in the hotel were completely full. But somehow we're able to accommodate all of these guests. So the whole idea here is that you cannot have an infinite number of hotel rooms, you cannot have an infinite number of seconds, and you can't have infinite time, which means that time began. And of course, we have to think about who started time. It has to be an agent that existed outside of time. And that's the agent we usually think of when we think of God. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and throw me a thumbs up, and also click the bell button so that you can receive all the notifications when we upload new videos. Thanks, guys.